Hey guys, welcome back to NordSection. So today I've decided to touch on a topic that somehow got missed when we all went to school. And I would say that it had to be the most important topic that should have been taught there. But as we all know, unfortunately it did not happen and we didn't even get a glimpse of it. With the sad reality of our old-fashioned education, we have to enter the world without knowing any basics of finance. Thus, as soon as we have to depend on ourselves, we quickly realize that you can barely have the lifestyle that you wanted because you never got taught of what it takes to have it. Once we are finally in debt because of our foolish mistakes that we made by basing our income on you live only once lifestyle. It is a good thing that now you have many different people online that can help you out and tell you a lot about different ways you can help yourself financially. That being said, let's talk about some financial basics that every single one of us has to address once and must face on an everyday basis. So number one would be budgeting. So you might think why budgeting is so important. It's first on our list. Well, it's the base of your financial journey. Imagine you are building your house and you start from your walls and then you put the foundation of the house. House building does not work that way. It same applies to your financials. First you have to build your fundamentals. Write down how much money you earn and then adapt your budget to it. For example, as we talk about in our first video, you can create a budget by slicing it up into different pieces. 50% goes to needs like rent, utilities, food, medical bills, cell phone bill, clothes and so on. 30% goes to wants like going out, buying new fancy clothes, vacations and hobbies. 20% should go into investing and savings, but in this case you should focus on your debt repayments. Start from the highest interest debts like credit cards. And you might ask, why should I start paying my debts as soon as possible? Answer is easy. Average yearly yield from S&P 500 is from 8 to 10%. If you have a debt which you pay interest bigger than 8 or 10%, you should pay the debt first. It's really simple math.
Quick maths!
Also, you might have different situations in your life and percentages might be different. Use those numbers just as reference points. Taxes are probably that one thing that we all tend to hate. We're definitely all united when speaking about how much we don't like paying taxes. Sadly, there's nowhere to go and nowhere to hide from paying them. Sure, there are a few ways that we can pay less and you should absolutely use those methods, but overall make sure you are always aware of how much you have to pay. There are a lot of ways that people tried to pay less and got themselves in some trouble just because they wanted to play around with the system. These people usually were not aware of something or were just simply ignorant to it. And let me tell you, that is a very simple way of how you can submit tax fraud. That is why it is very important to understand taxes. That way you will simply avoid making dumb mistakes and also you will have a nice basic knowledge. When you know how it works, you can find simple and legal ways to, when possible, use them to your advantage and get tax deductions. The next important step is to have an emergency fund. Before you start investing, you should save up for a 3-month emergency fund, so you don't need to get a credit card debt and pay insane interest rates which can go up to 23% easily. After you have money to cover 3 months of your living expenses, then you should start focusing on investing your money. Keep in mind that it is your emergency fund, not your fun fund. You don't touch this money if you want to go out with your boys on Friday night. Better cancel the night out, then take money from an emergency fund. You only allow yourself to take this money if you really need it, and you just lost your job or your car broke down and you need money to fix it. After you took your money out of your emergency fund, your focus should be to replenish your fund as soon as possible and then start to invest other money. Also, if everything goes right, you can increase your emergency for 6 months or even a year. All depends on your living conditions and your situation. I will leave a link for a video where I talk about how to save your first $1,000 in the description below. Well, before you buy something expensive, you should know if this asset grows in value or it's actually losing its value. There's no other way. One is called a liability and the other one is called asset. Asset is where your money grows, and liability is the asset class where your money goes down the drain. If you buy a new car from the car dealership, 99% of the time the car loses its value after leaving the parking lot. So before you buy something, you must know if the thing you are buying will bring you money or lose you money. I have no illusions that it will be different. Like some of you might think, oh, I will buy a car and I will sell it for a higher price later. Yes, it can be the case, but it happens rarely. You should always count the money you paid for fixing your car and etc. And the asset which most of the time will grow in value is a house. To most people, having a house is an absolute burden on their life. But there are ways to make a lot of money out of it. And I mean a lot. They're expensive though, and you must know some stuff before getting yourself into this industry. You really can use your rental payments to help you with your mortgage, and that way your house is actually paying for itself through this process. That is why I will always say that the housing market can make you a millionaire, and that is a statement that I will stand by all day, every day. Like in anything, if you try and spend your time getting yourself educated on a subject, you can become an expert in that field, and I would advise doing so when buying your first home. Get some knowledge, inspect the house, the area, find out as much as you can about it. Once you know it like a palm of your hand, just take a step and buy it. But as I said, make sure you know what you're paying for, and it can become one of the best investments that you could have ever made. Now it's time to talk about index funds. As Warren Buffett says, it's the best way to invest your money than picking out individual stocks for investments. Picking individual stocks can be a tedious work, and ETFs or index funds do that for you. There are a lot of different index funds and ETFs. You can find from gaming ETFs to gold ETFs. Most popular is S&P 500, which invests money into the biggest 500 companies in the United States. As I mentioned before, S&P 500 yearly yield is from 8 to 10%. If you invest 10k now, after 30 years you will get 100k. It's 10 times your money. But it can always go bad and you might lose your money. Also, if you want to buy more diversified exchange trading funds, you can buy the whole world stock tracking ETFs, which is called the Vanguard FTSE All World. After you saved enough money for your emergency fund and dipped your toes into investing, you should always start saving for your retirement. If you live in the US, you should take advantage of your 401k and max it out. If you live in another place in Europe, find an equivalent to 401k and take advantage of it. Also, you can diversify your money into other asset classes like stocks, precious metals, real estate, bonds, rates, or even cryptocurrency. Or you can even start your small business and make money for your retirement that way. It all depends on your tolerance to risk. Well, the last tip you should know about finance, that you always carry a risk to lose all your money. There's no guarantee that the S&P 500 will always bring you 8 to 10% return, or your real estate will annually bring 8% of money invested, or your business can go bust. Nobody can be sure about their financial situation, so try to be humble and don't forget where you came from. Of course, there are different variations of the risk. Investing into altcoin is much more riskier than investing into S&P 500, but returns might be higher. So I hope this video was helpful for you. It will not make you rich, but you will know the fundamentals of it. Start small and scale that up. Don't forget to like a video for YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment where you share your tip that helped you with money.